give us your contact information. I always like to start with that.
Okay. Well, my contact information is Kris, Kris, and you can send me an email at kris@healthymoneyhappylife.com, or you can call our office at 951-926-4158. And if you want to hop on my calendar because you're interested in a financial fitness strategy session, you can go to Meet with Kris Miller, Kris Miller, Miller.com.
Great.
And I'll put you on my calendar.
Okay, tell us who you are and what you do.
I am a legacy wealth strategist, and I've been in practice for over 32 years. And with over 6,000 clients, those that have worked with me, no one on my watch has ever lost one dime in any market risk. So I'm in the safe money world, and I show people how to protect their assets from catastrophic illness, long-term care, probate, and the Great Recession, right? And based off, I have a #1 best-selling book called Ready for Retirement: 3 Secrets for Safe Money and a Fabulous Future. It's not secret, it's just not talked about. So that's why I'm broadcasting again on my Money 911 podcast, available everywhere, right? But the conversation needs to be had because there are strategies that eliminate tax and risk, and it's great that everybody pays attention to it right now.
So, for me to get better understanding, and I'm a financial guy, so that's my background. What is it that you do that's different than other people? Is it the amount of risk that you keep people from suffering through risk? Because with the higher risk, the higher chance of
So,
success and failure.
right. So, what I learned in my practice when I first started 32 years ago with my own money, and it was like in the end of the 90s when we had the crash, I did not like the experience of losing money. So, it pushed me into researching, plus the responsibility of taking care of people's estates. I didn't want to make any mistakes on my own money and other people's money. So, I learned about, quote, safe money. So I'm in the investable life insurance side. I use Index Universal Life. So it's taking the life insurance chassis and using it for tax-free income. They call it accelerated death benefit, which just means you get to live off the death benefit while you are alive. And these are fabulous. The hybrid ones now are fabulous because they have catastrophic illness protection. And we learned about that in the last few years with the pandemic. It's not an age thing. You don't have to be 100 to use these things in the world we're in. So it's so important that that's part of your plan. And I don't sell products. It's a lifestyle. It's a plan for how all these things work together. Now that is one piece of it. I use other tools too, depending on the age and the health, because not everybody can get those. They are underwritten, so you have to have some health to it, right? And then if you don't have health, and this is where I have the majority of my assets in my retirement, is in equity index annuities. There's a lot of annuities out there. There are bad ones, there are volatile ones where you lose your principal. These have a floor on them, and they've been around since the Middle Ages. Not one person ever lost $1 in an annuity in the Great Depression. Babe Ruth, right? That story. He got an annuity in the Depression and didn't lose a dime. So they've been around for a while, but most people don't know about it. It's not mainstream. It's not, I'd make a lot more money selling stock, but hey, Bob, I couldn't look you in the eyes and say, hey, Bob, you need to buy this, but I don't
Amen.
want it. I can't do that.
Amen. I
Right?
get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, I come with an accounting background. I was director of accounting for a publicly traded company. I used to handle the worldwide cash flows for Max Factor. If you've ever heard of that company.
Oh, yeah.
And so you learn where you need to place yourself.
Right.
So if you're risk averse, which you should be, to being able to, be able to get up in the morning and put your feet on the floor, that's what you do.
Right.
Is that somewhat?
It's yeah. Yeah. It's it's rare because, I came into the money world from, my mountaintop experience. So it wasn't like when I started helping people with revocable living trusts. And this is 91, 92. This attorney wanted to charge $5,000 to a widow with no car and no money, but she had a car and a house. So she needed a trust. But he could, and so I looked at him and said, "Hey, can you give her a deal?" He looked at me like, "No." And I said, "Bye." And that pushed my business. That's really what got me started, Bob, in when I do the estate planning, because you have to look at all the assets, and everybody's assets were being gambled. Because
Yeah,
this is what I saw after 30 years. It's like a roulette wheel. Will it be up or down when you retire?
I
That's your
love this.
401k, right?
I
That's your
love this.
IRA.
Yeah,
Gah. I don't like that experience. I like
yeah.
solid, safe, and income I'll never outlive.
And we're going through it again.
You know it. And this one, they say it's going to be light. They say a lot of people, nobody really knows, but
Right.
the things that are on the side of it, World War III, all the volatility, food supply, everything that we're looking at, this is going to be a rough number of years for people. And so it's really important that they take the time out of their life to just learn about what I'm talking about. You can read my book, read others, and it's about safe money, because you're going to need something that isn't going to just disappear, which a lot of it is. What was it, Bob? I know you're paying attention to this. In the last year, what is it? 1 trillion has been lost from 401ks and people's pensions. They don't even know it. Most people don't even want to look at it. And seriously, I'll say, "What's in your 401k?" And they'll go, "I don't want to see. I don't want to know about it." Right? Just lost
I love
40,000.
humor. I love injecting humor. So let's see. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, my wife gets a call from, I think it was Fidelity, and they said to her, "Where would you like us to send your check?" She's going, "What check?" "Your retirement check. You have to start taking it out now."
Right.
And so she had no idea. It was something like $1,100, $2,000 a month. She was with Novartis, and we've been getting that check for 4 years now, monthly. And it's like she didn't even know it existed. That's the best kind of investment. No, find out that you're getting a huge return and not even knowing it.
Right, right. Now there's one for you, your RMDs when you get to like 72. Most people don't realize that if you forget that, you'll get charged as much as the RMD, the same amount of the RMD, they'll charge you, a penalty because you didn't take it out. So
Right.
and they've changed the law, they made it a little bit older, but it's most people when you get, older, you don't remember that you're supposed to take your RMDs, and if you don't have someone that watches over you,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
then you're going to have a bill there too. So there's a
Well,
lot of
what I love to
ways.
do is I love to put a call to action in these. I really started it at the beginning of the
That's
year,
good.
making
Yeah.
sure that there's a strong call to action. Well, you know what? A strong call to action for you is, I'm no youngster. I've got gray hair, right? So you can't replace history. You can't replace the fact that you've lived the experiences, and you got to start with that.
That's so true. And 32 years, that's 3 decades of looking
Right.
at thousands of portfolios. So it's not that I'm so smart. It's just that I saw a pattern, right? So the first 10 years was great. Everybody was living off their interests, right? Then we had
Right.
the crash in the beginning of the 2000s, and people will come in crying because they lost 40, 60% of their pensions.
Yep.
And that's what got my attention. Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be a safe place here. And that's where I found the products that I
This
use.
is great.
And I don't use anything else. I
This
don't
is great.
sell what I don't own.
Well,
Right?
this is great because, like I was saying a few minutes ago, your history, your knowledge base, you
Yeah.
build that up over time. You don't, acquire knowledge and then forget it.
Right.
You know, you
Right.
you
Whoops, I
know,
forgot my life.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so true. And then these kids that come in that what I got wasn't out of a book. I got all, I take continuing education, but the continuing education doesn't even relate to what I'm going through right now,
This is great.
and paying attention to the economics of the here and now and what's going on in the world.
Yep,
And don't forget the money reset. Right, trying to get everything out of paper into the digital. That's where it's headed. So,
yep,
and
yep. It's
everything's
changing.
moving
This
so
world is changing,
fast,
and I'm
right?
talking to people.
Yes.
I'm really talking very heavily now about data.
Mm-hmm.
That what do you know, you if you're trying to grow your business, you've got to use every tool available to grow. Whether you
Right.
call people, whether you text people, whether you email people, whether you use social media, and getting to the data of how to get in touch with people is something that I do. I have a team of people that research. LinkedIn um, was acquired by Microsoft about 6 years ago. And in October of 2018, LinkedIn, you used to be able to do a download of your LinkedIn, and they would give you all the content that you had. If the phone number was there, you'd get the phone number.
Right.
Well, as of October 2018, you know what you get? Name and
Nah.
vocation. You can request a download of it. So
Mm-hmm.
having an ability to go back and get that stuff instead of plucking it out of your LinkedIn connections one at a time. I don't know about you, but I try to use automation. I'm actually going to sneeze. So hold on.
Okay. Well, the automation, and when you get income set up automated and you get a check in the mail every month, all right? It's the same kind of thing. And what it does, there's three things that I found that people miss. Protection of assets with their money, right? uh, Probate, conservatorship, having the right paperwork, powers of attorney, living trust, and catastrophic illness.
You
None of
bet.
us think we're going to get sick, especially, when you're 20. It's hard to imagine what it's like when you're 40, when you're 40, what's 60, etc., right? So each age has its own peculiar, strange things, right?
Yeah, no,
Each
you're spot
age,
on, spot on. This
right?
this is great. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying this interview
me
because
too.
it makes you, I'm no spring chicken,
Yes, you
I'll be
are.
74 in March. So
You're as young as you think, right?
you bet, you bet. And most people can never figure out my age. So
That's right.
it's
That's
it's
right.
because I feel that laughter is the key to your future. If you're not laughing about it, you shouldn't be talking. All right, so
Right.
let's do this. Give us your contact information all over again, please.
Okay. Well, here it is. Kris Miller, Kris Miller. You can hop on my calendar if you want a financial fitness strategy. It's complimentary, 15, 20 minutes. I see if I can help you. And that's meetwithkrismiller.com. Or you can call our office at 951-926-4158, or send me an email at Kris, Kris, at healthymoneyhappylife.com. And I'm available. I'm a national speaker for the last 3 decades. So I'm happy to speak to your groups,
This is great.
all of them. And it's
This is great.
fun. I like to make it healthy money, happy life, right? It
Bingo,
doesn't have to be
bingo.
scary.
So, I
Okay.
started doing these interviews 2 years ago, and a little bit less maybe, but I've done 200 of these interviews in the last year and a half to 2 years.
That's great.
And it
Yeah.
was beyond my wildest dream. I'm kind of an inventor. That's what I've always pride myself in. Been in the
Right.
internet for over 30 years when there was only 30 or 60 million people in the world. And I had a computer company up to that point. And when I discovered the internet, I told my business partner, I said, this is where I'm going. It's going to be the next big thing. You think I was right? Pure
Mhm.
guess. But yeah, I was right. And
Right.
then LinkedIn, I've been on LinkedIn 16 years.
Mm.
And I just
Been
love this
around.
stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in having an interview with me, my name is Bob, middle name Holt, Holt, last name Friedenthal, Fried. Enthal. By the way, do you have Alexa?
No,
Do you have an Alexa?
no,
Okay.
I don't want an Alexa.
Okay. So 3 weeks ago, I went into Alexa and I just asked, who is Robert Holt Friedenthal? And it came back and said, I was with NATO. I got out of the military 50 years ago. 50.
It's not very up to date, is it? Right.
So it's
right.
always interesting stuff. So if you would like an interview, you can reach me at area code 310-736-5787. That's a mobile number. Call me or text me. And I love doing these interviews. In the last little over year and a half, I've done something like 200 of these. And you know why I do them? This is what I was thinking about. What happens when you're typing on social media? It's not very humanizing, is it?
No.
But when you're verbalizing, when you're meeting people on,
That's what it's about, right? The
Yeah.
heart connection.
and
Yep.
they say that it takes 15 to 30 seconds for you to size up the
Right.
individual. They look at your body language
Mm-hmm.
and they look at your facial gestures. Well, guess what, Kris?
What?
I'll give you a 10 out of 10.
Woohoo! I made it. All right.
All right, I'm going to be
Thank
signing
you.
us off. So
Thank
great
you so
interview.
much.
Thank you so much
Appreciate it.
for interviewing with me. Talk
My
to you later.
joy. Thank you so
Bye.
much. See ya.